All right, so D.D. Gregorius, many years ago, Kevin Towers, who you know, said that he compared him to Derek Jeter. He hasn't lived up to that. How much do you like this guy?
Well, he's a 24-year-old, middle of the diamond, premium position type player, type talent. He's exceptional defender, left-handed bat. On the infield, it's got a lot of value, especially here at Yankee Stadium. And he can put the ball in the seats a little bit. He's got a little pop. And the biggest question is obviously the hitting side. And so there's risk, no doubt about it. But it's very difficult to find these type players, and it comes at extreme high cost. And it was really hard to part with a Shane Green, who obviously we developed, and he was very good for us last year. And we believe strongly in him, but we felt it was a risk worth taking, making that deal. We now feel we have a shortstop that we can throw on the left side of the field, clearly, and even match up and protect a little bit with Brendan Ryan being here, because and don't misunderstand what I'm going to say about the Paul O'Neill analogy here, but when Paul O'Neill came over from Cincinnati, he could not hit left-handers, and so Buck did a great job early on, especially protecting him, and then until Paul settled in, and then his role expanded. I think Didi has a chance to come on over here, definitely play against the right-handed pitching, and then develop over time against the left-handed pitching, because the left-handed side is a little weak right now for him left on left against pitchers he's not very good at this stage. But the right side's pretty good, and the defense is exceptional. So I think that we have improved significantly now with his addition from where we were sitting, and I think Girardi, who plays these type of matchups very well, will really utilize it to our advantage.
Brian, we're talking about a player that come spring training will be 25 years old and has not even played in his 200th Major League game yet. So is there still a learning curve? Is there still the possibility that this kid can find a stroke and be better than what he's been offensively in his career?
Well, that's the hope. That's why I highlighted that there's risk. About what is he now and what is he going to be? Obviously he hit at Reno for them last year at AAA. Hit 310, and for them at AAA, got called up with an 836 OPS. One Owings I think went down, and then he struggled at 226 mark with a 653 OPS at the big league level there in the second half. He had won the job the previous year at a great spring training and got out of the gates hot, and then teetered off in the second half in 2013 for those guys in Arizona. But he's got exceptional ability. He's got a great strong arm and defense, and the question mark's the bat. If the bat comes, a little bit farther, then we'll be very, very happy that we did this deal. But he's young and he's still developing, so he's definitely not a finished product, and he does have options, and we do feel he's going to be a player that's going to impact the major league club from start to finish. That's the expectation for us, and we feel we're going to be happy to have him here, and that's what we hope are, and that's why we put all our chips in by putting Shane Green on the table. All
right, so you said he has options left. Does this trade take you out of the Stephen Drew sweepstakes, or is that still a possibility?
I don't think the basic agreement allows me to say I'm out on anything. So it's hard for me to say, but clearly now, obviously we have some young kids that are pushing through the system with Rex Snyder and Perella that could play second base. I have Prado that can play second. He can swing to third. Clearly we're talking about, players on the free agent market, that can play third too. So there's some flexibility, and diversity. And so, the one nice thing about it, unfortunately, that we did send out an under control cheap starting pitcher, but we got an under control cheap premium middle of the diamond position player, so we still have retained a lot of ability to do some, with what our remaining payroll flexibility is. Hopefully we can utilize that to our advantage as we move forward.
Now, this might be the last thing you want to hear, Brian, but I'm going to tell you anyway. I don't like the Andrew Miller signing. I love it. That's what I said on my show the day the season ended. That's who the Yankees should target. That's who they should bring in. It's not a good sign if I love it, but tell me why you love it.
Well, he's a big, strong, very effective against righties and lefties reliever. It's someone that obviously was a former top draft pick. It was a starter coming out of UNC, and he bounced around, and now he found his niche. In the setup role, obviously in a big market in Boston, with success the last year and a half, and then he got traded in the pennant race to Baltimore and didn't miss a beat. And Obviously, we had a chance to see him, unfortunately, up close as he mowed us down like he's done most of the league. But, it's certainly, I've had a lot of conversations with our scouting personnel, with our ownership, with our manager about, this weapon and adding him to our bullpen that already currently consists of Betanzas, as well as the guy we got from the Pirates and Justin Wilson, who's a hard-throwing left-hander. And so we're just trying to accumulate some real high-end weapons that our manager can utilize late in the game, which he's very good at. He might be one of the better ones in the game at.
How does this affect your decision if you bring Robertson back or not?
We'll see. Again, it diversifies us. It gives us choices. It protects us but as we move forward into this winter and into the free agency as well as the trade market. But how it ultimately affects us, it just gives us a little bit more comfort that we've reinforced and protected ourselves. But I won't predict or rule out any evaluations as we move forward about opportunities that continue to present themselves. We'll see.
Would you say that it's, sports is a copycat business, Brian, that what the Royals did last year, shortening games to 5 1/3 innings, 6 innings at the most, that's what you're following right now? I mean, you guys have always built a nice bullpen, but this makes it even deeper.
Yeah, but we're not copying what Kansas City did. I mean, we had an exceptional bullpen last year as one of our team's strengths, and so clearly, I think it's not hard to say that you would love to have some wipeout power stuff, coming out of that pen every time you turn to it.
Right.
It's just hard to at times get a collection of that at the same time. And Kansas City did an exceptional job of doing that. But I think we've done a great job over the years having a tremendous bullpen and a manager that can utilize it to our advantage. So we're just trying to recreate what we've already had, because the sands of time come in and change some things all on you, and so if you just need to keep up with trying to make sure that that's a strength for us.
All right, Buster Only just tweeted out, Brian, that according to sources, if Robertson's asking price drops, Yankees ready to talk. If not, they'll move on with the bullpen group they have. Confirm or deny?
Neither. I wouldn't be able to speak to it.
Okay.
Is there just better value building and strengthening your bullpen and your pitching rather than trying to improve on the offense, or does the market dictate which direction you go in that?
Well, I'd say the market might dictate it to some degree in terms of what's available in the market. Obviously you might have some needs that the market really is weak in or can't supply. So you're forced to focus on other aspects of your club that you potentially can improve upon and play in that sandbox. And so, listen, we need when this winter started, we wanted to improve the left side of the infield. We needed a right-handed hitting outfielder, which we secured in Young as we retained him. That could come off the bench. We need to reinforce starting pitching, and now we're down one. We need to reinforce our bullpen. We've had 2 additions there with Justin Miller and Andrew Miller and Justin Wilson. So, we still got work to do, and today was obviously a day that we were able to put some results out there to a lot of conversations that have been taking place throughout this entire winter since October hit. So hopefully we've got some more work that we can successfully complete, and I can talk to you about more things that we hope could benefit our fan base.
All right, Brian, is Miller cool with pitching as a setup man or a closer? Have you guys put in your mind what he's going to be, and is he okay wherever you put him?
He's okay wherever we put him. I'm not signing him to be our closer. I'm, signing him to be a weapon or a pen and see how this winter shakes out and what basically our finished product team looks like when we get to spring training, and then Joe Girardi, will sift through it accordingly. As I've said it more than a few times, he's really good with the pen, and so now he's hopefully a real important pen piece that we'll be able to utilize. And obviously it's expensive. He's had a lot of success in this role, and we look forward to him having continued success.
Is it fair because that's what he's done? He might be better suited at this point to be a setup man?
Well, I would have to point to when we lost Mariano to retirement, and everybody was asking me about Robertson, and I was unwilling, not out of disrespect, but unwilling to anoint him as he's going to close. He had to earn it, he had to show it, and it's more of a respect for how difficult that position is, and Miller hasn't done that, so I'm not here to tell anybody that he's going to or can, because that's an unknown. So the more important aspect is that we have another high-end, valuable piece that we've added in the mix that Joe can play matchup with. With Betances currently, with Wilson. If Warren's in the pen, he may be in the rotation. Who knows? And Kelly, and whatever else we seem to assemble as we move forward. As this winter concludes. I think it'll define whoever will be closing eventually. Somebody will be closing. I just don't know who it is just yet. And we had a tremendous one in Robertson last year, and let's wait. Let's let the winter play out and see how else things develop before we start just kind of handing things to people. But I never once talked to Miller about closing. So.
All right, one final thing. Anything on Headley?
Yeah, we've talked to him. That's about all I can say. I mean, he was a nice addition for us, and we have been in contact with his agents, as we have with many agents throughout this winter. And but I got nothing to report on it.